There has been this invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And it is important to remember that a lot of individuals, we turn on the TV, and whether it is Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC, or some other network out there, or whether it is that you go online and you read an article, it is important to always remember to do your own research. Even with this show, Líderes del Futuro, we do our best to do our research and to get you the most accurate information. But we have to be transparent. And that means that we have to understand that out there, people will cover something or will not cover something, an important issue, or they will cover it in a certain way, because eventually it's about making money. Here at KBBF Bilingual Radio, we don't make any money. We are public radio. We depend on donations, on grants, and basically that's all there is. And so it's important to understand what has been happening. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned something in Spanish. I didn't do it in English. Now that we have a few minutes, I want to mention it. And that is, this comes from a report by Jeremy Kuzmarov that just came out today. And this comes from a wonderful magazine that investigates this type of stuff. They get their money through donations as well, not, again, selling a product. And one of the things that I said a couple of weeks ago is that Russia didn't just walk into Ukraine from one day to the next without having been provoked. And there were many ways that they were provoked. One, the administration in the United States president for weeks kept telling us it was going to happen as a way of, from day one, making sure that in our minds, we were going to judge the president of Russia as a horrible human being, as an evil individual, and so on and so forth. And many individuals are doing that in conversations out here in the community, in the media, and everywhere. It is important for us, again, that we don't just believe things because are presented to us, but that we take the time to understand this. Recently, the CIA Director Bill Burns testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee that, again, Russia and Vladimir Putin are, again, these individuals who just want to take over another country. But what we really need to understand is that it's more complex than that. The United States has been lying to the community, to our community in general. And we need to understand that in the past, the United States has done exactly what we have done, and by we, I mean the United States, to other countries in Latin America and in other places, as a way of gaining control. Is we go and we send our CIA and other military trained individuals to then train paramilitary or military agents in order to be able to conduct operations for the benefit of the United States. We continue to do this in Latin America. We continue to do this everywhere. And again, in Ukraine, this happened. And two, there have been sections of Ukraine that wanted to separate from Ukraine and go and be part of Russia. And about 8 years ago, in reality, in February of 2014, with US support and training, again, Ukraine sent its forces to be able to, again, kill and attack those sections that wanted to go back and be part of Russia because they no longer wanted to be part of Ukraine. And and that is Luhansk and Donetsk are the individual areas where, again, the regions that were attacked. And so we started this. The other thing is that there had been a promise that had been made, that NATO had made, that said, no, Ukraine will never become part of NATO. But for a while now, Europe has expanded its area of NATO in that, vicinity, I should say, around Russia. So we have been doing this for a long time. And as a result of that, we have been provoking. So even though there had been a promise that said, no, Ukraine will never become part of NATO, it was the United States that for a while now has been saying we need to have Ukraine as part of NATO, again, provoking Russia in order to be able to have an excuse to completely destroy Russia. And how are we accomplishing that? Again, the United States has been doing this. The United States also has given Javelin anti-tank missiles to Ukraine for many, many years, as well as, again, there have been training by CIA and other operatives on how to conduct clandestine operations. There are reports now that some of the places that allegedly the Russian forces have destroyed in Ukraine and have killed their own individuals, citizens of Ukraine, in fact, there are reports on the ground that it is secret military agents of Ukraine doing this for the purpose of, again, getting other nations to go against Russia. Again, you can read the actual report. The report is CIA Director William Burns. He's the capo of world's biggest spreader of lies and misinformation. It was published today by Jeremy Kuzmarov. And so again, it's important that you review this information. It's important that you just don't buy what the media is telling you, because the media wants to sell you something. Whether it is a cell phone or whatever during their commercials, they want you to pay attention to that, but they don't want you to do your critical analysis, to go and get your own information. And so it's important that we understand this. Now, this is important to understand for multiple reasons, including the fact that in the United States, I should say, has been again trying to destroy Russia for the final time by creating an economic situation, but at the same time, because we have now left Afghanistan and Iraq, we are in a situation where all of these companies that sell tanks and other weapons, including drones, which now the United States is going to give to Ukraine, by the way, they were losing money. They were no longer making money because we were no longer in Afghanistan and Iraq, where we were making, all this money, or they were making all this money, because we were spending sometimes for a period of time up to $20 billion a month. And so these companies needed a reason to be able to do this. So now drones are being gifted from the United States to Ukraine, tanks, and we just gave them $800 million, to the country so they can purchase whatever it is that they need. And what are they going to purchase? They're going to purchase weapons, right? So it's important that we understand this. And so I just wanted to throw a little bit of information out there. I need you to do your own research, but it would be important for you to look at the book from 1928 called Falsehoods in a Time War by Sir Arthur Ponsonby, which again summarizes how this is done. And as I say it, I want you to think back to what Biden has been doing here. Because again, this is what we're doing. We are trying to make sure that we do what we call economic consequences or punishment to Russia by devaluing their money, by taking away their possessions. And this is exactly what we're looking for. We are doing another Cold War against Russia with the intent that the United States will become the #1 superpower in this planet, which we used to be. But then China stepped in. And China is now talking to Russia, which freaks us out because China has a lot to lose if Russia loses. And as a result of that, it was easier on China when it was Russia, China, and the United States, because there wasn't that much pressure on just one country. And so China has a vested interest in supporting Russia. But this is what you can find in this book, and these are the 10 points that you should think about as you watch the news or as you think back on the previous days. One, we keep saying, you know what? We don't want war. They may want war, but we don't want war at all. Two, the opposite party in this situation, Russia, is the only guilty one. We are not guilty of anything, right? Three, the enemy is evil or resembles evil, right? And they keep saying this all the time in the news. They use different language, but that's exactly what they say. Four, we are defending, we are stepping in just to be the saviors, right? The good people. And that's what we've been saying for a long time. But we are not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for these poor individuals who cannot, help themselves. Five, the enemy is committing atrocities on purpose. And when we kill people, we did this in Iraq and Afghanistan, by the way, when we kill people, it was just a mistake. But the enemy is evil, right? We keep saying that. Six, the enemy uses forbidden weapons, right? Joe Biden keeps saying now, there's rumors that Putin is thinking about using biological weapons, right? So we are looking for this excuse. We wouldn't do that, but others are thinking about it. So let's, going back the victims, right? Seven, we suffer small losses, they suffer huge losses. So again, it's how the media is controlling that manner. And then it's about finding individuals that they call intellectuals in this book, right? The big thinkers that say, you know what? Yeah, we, the people that are not government backed, we are thinking and agree with our government. And that's what they're looking for now. They're looking for people from the United States, philosophers and famous artists and famous movie stars to say, Russia is bad, Ukraine is good, we are the saviors. And you're starting to see that now. And then again, sometimes they say, our cause is for the good of the world, or our cause is backed by God. And again, the last one is, all who doubt us are traitors. And we saw that after 9/11, we saw it with Afghanistan, we saw it with Iraq, and we even started passing laws to be able to spy on people who spoke up against us. And this comes out of the CIA's playbook, right? The CIA creates this type of stuff, and this is what we're seeing now. So again, go out there, do your research, don't believe everything you see or hear, and make sure that you are up to date. Because if we really care about the humanity out there, right, where there is no oil, where there is no strategic potential for us, we wouldn't have just gone to Ukraine, but we would be today in Rwanda, where people continue to be killed. We would be in so many other countries where people are being executed. We had the issue in Myanmar. We had the issue in so many countries, right? But we only go in there when there is oil or other natural resource, or when, again, these huge companies that want to sell weapons have a vested interest in us going there. I invite you to think about this because it matters.